Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Cam. Before I dive into the video today, I just want to give, I guess, a disclaimer, aside, whatever you want to call it, because today I'm going to be talking about The Fifth Element. And The Fifth Element was directed by Luc Besson. I bring this up because there have been several sexual assault allegations made against Besson. And, of course, it's in a bit of a quagmire, as Besson has said, no, those are not true, though multiple women have come out against him. It's a mess, it really is. The point I'm trying to get at is that, well, YouTube comment sections exist, and so I'm bringing this up now because, yes, I am aware of Luc Besson's questionable activities, and I'm going to be talking about this movie not complimenting him as a person, but as a director. There is a difference between complimenting him as a filmmaker and complimenting him as a human being. I feel like I have the wisdom to discern between the two, but I just wanted to say up front that if any of the rumors are true, then I do not endorse them in any form or fashion. I'm one of those stupid idiots who believe that we should all treat each other with respect. I know. Again, bit of a quick warning, disclaimer, whatever you want to call it, but here I am bringing it up, and now I just want to talk about The Fifth Element because I think the movie is excellent. But let's get into the review. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and today is May 9th, 2021. That means that one of my all-time favorite movies, The Fifth Element, is now 24 years old. Why do I bring this up? Well, this coming Friday, May 14th, I'll be 24 years old. And either on my birthday or around my birthday, it is a yearly tradition of mine to watch The Fifth Element, and I don't see that changing at any point. But since I have a YouTube channel where I analyze the quality of certain films, I was thinking to myself, should I even talk about The Fifth Element? Because this movie is very precious to me, and I was nervous that it might not have aged very well. I can safely report, though, that this movie has aged tremendously well, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The idea for this movie came straight from the brain of Luc Besson. He originally conceived the idea because, well, he was bored one day and he just kinda came up with it as he went along. In my research, I found that Besson wanted this to be among the first movies he directed. However, he needed money to do it, and money he just simply didn't have. So he put this project on the shelf for a bit. He went on to direct movies like Leon the Professional, and then came back to direct The Fifth Element and started work on it around early 1995, saying that it was either The Fifth Element or nothing at all. And despite other pieces of news, I guess, The Fifth Element is widely regarded as one of Besson's best films, if not his best. This movie tells the story of a taxi driver named Corbin Dallas, played by Bruce Willis. This movie takes place in the far-off future, 2263 to be exact. And one of the people he gives a ride to is a humanoid robot named Lilu, played by Milla Jovovich. See, she doesn't know it, but Lilu is secretly what is called the Fifth Element. Bit of context. In 1914, an alien race took what is considered the Fifth Element to use as a weapon, promising to return it when the Earth needed it the most. Well, the Earth definitely needs it, as a great evil, this big fireball in the sky, is coming to collect and, well, take down the Earth, and using an evil businessman named Zorg, played by Gary Oldman, and his half-skullet, to do so. I can't really determine when I first saw this movie for the first time. I guess it was just one of those movies that I always, knew about and always thought about because of the world that it presented. Not to mention that I traditionally watch this, or try to watch this, every year on or around my birthday. So there's that. Original sci-fi can be a tricky prospect. Even Besson tried it with Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, and that movie just fell flat on its face. But like I said in the intro, this movie has aged tremendously well, and in many respects, it's some of the best work of some of these actors, specifically Milla Jovovich and Chris Tucker, but more on him in a second. First, let's talk about Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is the kind of actor nowadays that people are just like, he used to care, but now he's just in it for the paycheck, and yeah, I can kind of see why, but back in like the late 90s, he was a pretty big deal. In my research, I found that it was either down between him and Mel Gibson to play Corbin Dallas. If they would have gotten Gibson, that would have been an amazing get, because in '95, he had also directed and won an Oscar for a little movie called Braveheart. So, yeah, he would definitely be a good choice. But they ultimately went with Willis, and yeah, I like him in this movie. He starts out as like what you would imagine a taxi cab driver of the future would be, just world-weary and just completely out of it. But by the time he meets Lilu, he's like, okay, I don't know who this person is, but I need to help him. And speaking of, let's talk about Lilu for a second, because Milla Jovovich has become quite infamous for her movies like the Resident Evil sequels and Monster Hunter, and, well, basically she only acts if her husband Paul W.S. Anderson is directing. But I can't lie, she is really good in the movie, or at least I like her. She can't remember anything up to a certain point, so she's kind of a blank slate up there, which leads her to repeat stuff like Lilu Dallas Multipass. Not gonna lie, I laugh whenever that happens. It is rather unfortunate that Jovovich has only become known for the Resident Evil stuff, because I think she is really good in The Fifth Element. And then there's Gary Oldman, who, I swear, in 1997 he was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna be a villain all year. Because he was the villain in this, he was the villain in Air Force One, and he was the villain in the Lost in Space movie that nobody remembers. But he was a good choice to play Zorg in this movie. On the one hand, he's like kind of bumbling, but when he needs to be serious, he can be. You do feel a twinge of sympathy for him because, well, he's kind of under the thumb of this great evil who we don't really see a ton of, but we just know is there. It's not going to work out well for us. And the cast in this movie is honestly really good here. You got Luke Perry, you got the late Ian Holm, may he rest in peace. You have Tiny Lister as the president, may he rest in peace. Zeus is the president in this movie. All he needs is Macho Man Randy Savage to be his vice president, and yeah, I'd vote for them. And then there's Chris Tucker as Ruby Rhod. Out of all of the discussion in this movie, by far and away the most divisive is Chris Tucker as Ruby Rhod. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of Chris Tucker. I like his style of comedy. I think he had a very underrated stand-up special that's exclusive to Netflix. See the part where he's at Michael Jackson's house, and Michael Jackson and Barry Gibbons are singing, and then Chris Tucker kind of ruins it. I'm not doing it justice, it's a great story. But Chris Tucker is definitely grating for some people, and I can't argue with them. In the future, Ruby Rhod is basically a shock jock. He was basically like a YouTube star before YouTube ever existed, or YouTube may have existed and died in that future, who knows. But he's loud, he's over the top, he's got like a weird conic thing on his head, he wears like these cheetah outfits, I don't even know what to call them. And being Chris Tucker, he talks very loud and very over the top in a high-pitched voice. He is definitely like Marmite. You're either going to love it or you're going to absolutely hate it. But I love it. I think Chris Tucker can be very funny. I love him in the Rush Hour movies, and I love him here. And then, I think by far and away, the biggest compliment that I could give to this movie is that this movie looks amazing. Even by 2021 standards. The city in this movie is just, it feels so lived in, and it just feels so creative. I love the imagination in this. It kind of reminds me of the city of Los Angeles from Blade Runner, but, well, a lot more colorful and a lot less techno-noir. Plus, there's enough tactile elements to where you're not just sitting there like, these people are just standing in front of green screens. One of my favorite, little moments in this movie is when Corbin, Dallas, and Lilu are running away from the cops, and they blow past these cops who are at this, futuristic McDonald's, and the food just goes everywhere. What makes the scene great is that they actually look like they're eating, McDonald's food. They're not just, parked in front of, a futuristic McDonald's green screen looking thing. It looks like what you would think a futuristic McDonald's would look like. And then there is the crown jewel of this movie, the Floston Paradise. I don't know if I'll live to see, space cruises, but I hope to live long enough to see one, because, wow, this cruise ship just looks absolutely luxurious. I saw some discourse online that said this movie feels a little bit more style over substance, and I can definitely, see and understand that, but at the same time, I can't really argue with the style that is presented because the style is awesome. And at the end of the day, I absolutely love this movie, 24 years after the fact. I love the acting, I love the imagination, it's got a lot of great action in there, it's funny at times, Bruce Willis is given some one-liners. Anyone else want to negotiate? And in terms of original sci-fi, but more recent original sci-fi, this is definitely a home run. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching. Now I say to all of you, on or around your birthday, is there a particular movie that you like to watch, or a traditional movie you like to watch around that time? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you all would have to say. And then next Sunday, which will be my first Sunday as a 24-year-old, I'll be dropping my first reaction to the Studio Ghibli film Princess Mononoke. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.